expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder, Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is losing a spouse to cancer. We just heard from Roman with the Drive at 5, and we're asking that you keep it right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. The show is being sponsored by Emanuel Church of God in Christ, located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, with Pastor Michael Richardson, and they are still practicing social distancing, so you can catch the Word of God every Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. on the Facebook page, Emanuel Cogic. The quote of the day is, "Even if you know what's coming, you are never prepared for how it feels." If you are tuning in on any type of social media, please like and share the show. Invite somebody else in on the show so that they can get this important information. I guarantee you that the topic today will hit each one of us. We all know someone who either lost their spouse to cancer or you yourself has lost your spouse. When your spouse dies, your world changes. You are in mourning, feeling grief and sorrow at the loss. You may feel numb, shocked, and fearful. You may be feeling guilty, being the one still alive. At some point, you may even feel angry at your spouse for leaving you. All of these feelings are normal. There is no rule about how you should feel, and there is no right and wrong way to mourn. Joining me right now is none other than co-host ReShell Gilmore, cancer activist, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Gal Foundation. Hey, ReShell.
Hey, Lady ReShell.
How are you?
I am wonderful, and yourself?
Good. I know it's been a minute, but I had to get you in here. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I could not do this month without you.
Of course, my favorite day of the week, Monday, because it's Warrior Talk Monday.
Awesome.
So I'm ready.
Well, today I know that this topic really is centered somewhat around you, because the way that you and I met is because you lost your wife to cancer, and our worlds kind of collided because of the cancer. And so I want you to share a little bit of your journey today, some of your wisdom on being a spouse who has lost their partner to cancer.
Well, my journey started back in 2007. And my wife woke up one morning and she felt a lump in her breast, and she thought, what if? But she left it at that. And she went on throughout her day. She made an appointment with the doctor. And then, we went to the doctor, and the doctor confirmed her suspicion that her what if turned into what was. And that day is the first day that cancer threw its punch. And the only thing we could do was just roll up our sleeves and begin to fight. And my battle and my journey started from there. I didn't have people around me who was going through or had a clue what I was going through, because we were young. My wife was only 30 years old when she was diagnosed. So nobody didn't know anything. They didn't know the pain, the hurt. I heard about breast cancer, but it hadn't affected me in any type of way, or actually any type of cancer. Later on, I found out that my dad had cancer also. So it was quite a sight to see my wife and my father both getting chemotherapy and having the same doctor. So I did a lot of research, and I love the quote that you read earlier, because my background had prepared me for what was upcoming, what was coming towards me. Now, I was a cook, I was an EMT, and if it wasn't for those things that I did, I think my wife's time would have been cut even shorter than what it was. But for me being a cook, I learned on what vegetables and things, the synergy sitting around those to help her, live longer. Just the energy, just the people, everything surrounding her, all those different type of things, and that really that really helped out a lot. Navigating your social life as a single person can be complicated. That's very true. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. Lady ReShell, I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
I can see you and I can hear you.
Okay. There we go. We're back now.
So the dynamics of your family changed. Even the roles changed when she got the cancer, because now you finding yourself really in that caregiver state to where doing some of those things that women would normally do if you do the ginger roles. But you found yourself doing those roles to make sure that your wife was taken care of.
Well, you know what? My wife was very, very, very strong. And I didn't have to do those roles until later on, because in the beginning, when we found out, she was living life that there was nothing if she was continuing doing what she was doing. We were working together. We were still going out. We were still doing things. She didn't let it bother her that much. But don't get me wrong, there was some long nights where she sat there and she thought, it really bothered that she's not going to see her kids and do this. And, I had to keep her head strong to keep taking this thing head on. So it was a little bit of a journey. It was a struggle, but she made it through, and I'm very proud of her.
So when she was diagnosed, she wasn't diagnosed automatically with it being terminal, correct?
Well, she was stage 3 going into stage 4, and it was very aggressive. The doctor did give his analysis where he told me that she may only have about 2 years to live. And I said, no, you're not going to tell me in 2 years that my wife is not going to be here. And that's when I became a doctor, a preacher, a dietitian, everything that I could to help her keep going.
So what was it like for you having to juggle all of those roles, especially you being a father as well?
I think the most important thing was finding a way to help her live, to continue to live. She was living, but at the same time, I noticed her getting tired. It's not easy watching someone who's always strong metamorphosize into something that you've never seen them into before.
I think just watching my mom take care of my dad, who passed away from cancer, and just to watch this strong person, who was used to doing everything around the house, and then now all of a sudden, you're taking care of him like he's a baby. It did a lot to her, but like you, she enjoyed doing it because, she was doing something for him and helping him to have, the best quality of life that he could have considering the situation. So I think it's important, the support system, the family that you have to care for you, especially the immediate support system, is so crucial. Just making sure that, you are kind of like shielding the person from a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things that people say or, probably don't mean well, but you kind of shield them from what's going on just to kind of keep them sane and concentrating on just life.
Correct. And I know we say this many times on the show. There's two things that's very important: knowing you have it and the support system you have. Those are the two most important things. You can't have negative energy around you. You can't have certain people around you. So as long as you know what's going on with you, that's half the battle right there. The other half, as we stated, is the support system.
What was it like for your daughters, Rizal, going through it? How old were they at the time when she was diagnosed?
My oldest daughter was 18, and my youngest daughter, she was 7 or 8. Yeah, she had just turned. Yeah, she had just turned 8. And she really didn't understand, but me and her mother had kind of been prepping her for a while if anything was to ever happen to her. So she was in a way prepared. She just didn't know what day was going to happen.
I think, when it comes to kids, it's such a sensitive subject because like when I think about my youngest kids, like right now, I was talking to them the other day about me going through cancer, and they're like, "Mom, they don't remember me going to treatment. They don't remember me being sick. They don't remember that." And in a way, I'm kind of glad that they don't, because I really didn't want them to have that image of me. Um, you want them to know, what it is to struggle and to work through that struggle, and to know what it is to go through that. But um, I don't know, they don't remember any of it, and I guess maybe God shielded them from that.
That's good. I think when it comes to kids and the parents always try to uphold a high profile that really nothing is going on. And I think I stated before some time that kids need to know what's going on, because you could be taking some time away from them that they need to be spending with you. So they need to understand what cancer is. They need to understand why grandma walks around with an oxygen tank. They need to understand why mommy don't have no hair and she's bald, looking like me. So these are things that I try to that Warriors Talk is here for, to try to educate these kids and let them know. But I can imagine with kids growing up, they always look at the parents as the strong individual. But it gets tiring being strong. We can't be strong all the time. So what happens? Either your spouse or somebody got to step in to pick up that slack.
Yeah, and we talk about with that support system, not being afraid to allow people to help you. Like, there's going to come a point in time when you cannot do everything yourself, so you're going to have to allow people to help you. And if you tell somebody you're going to help them, be serious about it, be concrete about it, be specific about what it is that you can do for them. Sometimes we have that empty promise, like, girl, if you need anything, just call me, girl, I'm here for you. And then when you need somebody, nobody is there. So if the best thing you can do for somebody who's going through is, if you promise them something, then follow through on it. You don't necessarily even have to say anything. You can fix dinner for the family, or order DoorDash for the family. You can have the laundry clean, have somebody come in and clean the house, like things like that you can do just to help somebody who's going through, to let them know that you care about them.
This is very true. And my wife, she didn't let nobody do anything for her. She didn't want nobody feeling sorry for her. She didn't want no pity party, none of those things. But I think later on, as time went on, she had a little change of heart about it. She see that she needed the help. Well, it wasn't even that I needed the help, because it wasn't easy, like you said, being a husband, being a father, being a caretaker, being a doctor, being all these different things. So it definitely was tough. So me having her, it's like, well, who has me? But I wasn't worried about me, because I was doing what I was supposed to do, and that was taking care of her.
So where was your outlet though? Because sometimes I know when you're the caregiver, sometimes you get burnt out as well, and you need a release.
Honestly, I can say I don't think I didn't have it. I was just focused on her living. I don't ever think that I had an outlet.
I think most caregivers feel like that. They feel like, they want to be always present with the person, because they don't want nothing to happen and they're not there. And it's like, oh man, I should have been there. So they try to make sure that they stay present with the person. But, I think it's important for caregivers to take care of themselves too, to take some time out, to have an outlet, so that you can, be able to recharge and be able to be your best and at the top of your game, so that you can, be there for that person. And I commend you, Resolve, for just standing, in the gap for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. and just pushing through with your wife and encouraging her to, you know, to do, to let her, allow her to do what she wanted to do until she wasn't able to do it anymore. And then, you know, you scooped in there and you took charge. So I commend you for doing that. You know, we need more men like you that's gonna, you know, make the woman feel, you know, like a woman, you know, like she
I
has
definitely
somebody
appreciate that.
to take care of her. You know, we all want that Superman to just scoop in there and be like, I got it, babe, I got it, you know. So, you know, and I'm sure your daughters feel the same way. So just know that you are appreciated.
I definitely appreciate that from Warriors Talk. I think when it comes to our vows for better, for worse, for thickness and health, that's what we signed up for. That's what we said. We can't get going. I mean, you're supposed to get going when it gets tough. And knowing and realizing that one day that death is going to be the sole separator of us both. We did say till death do us part. It's just that she went before me, and I responded to her to the end. I did everything that I could. I did everything what a husband was supposed to do. So I have no regrets, no remorse, nothing. I feel good. I'm very proud of her, and I just made her a promise, and I'm still living and fulfilling that promise.
And it's important. It's important to keep that legacy alive for the children and for all of those individuals who are going to be going through this cancer journey. So, you know, spreading that awareness, encouraging people to take action. And, you know, I know you're out in the community speaking at different events. Just, you know, opening your mouth and not being silent about what's going on. So we need more of that, especially for men, because you know we really don't have men talking about cancer a lot. So you know you are probably one in a few that does it. So it'll at least get other men to listen, and then I think a lot of women will hear it from men as well. So that's important.
Yeah, that's very true. We do need more male advocates out there. We need them to speak up and talk about their journey, whether they're going through it, their spouse going through it, or whoever close, because we need more stories being told. Because I kept on this journey because I know there's going to be another me. I know that I'm not the only one who's going through this or who went through this. So, like I said in the beginning, I didn't have nobody to turn to. Now, if it comes about, I am that inspiration. I am that influencer. I am that person to help you from my experience to get you through what you're going through.
Wow. If you are just tuning in to Warriors Talk, we are talking about losing a spouse to cancer, and I'm talking to co-host Rizal Gilmore, who lost his wife to breast cancer, and he is carrying on the fight by being an advocate and ambassador, making sure that he is not only spreading awareness, but he's encouraging individuals to take action. He's also a father of two beautiful girls who, you know, he still has to take care of and help keep the mother's legacy alive. So for you men out there or women who have lost your spouse, I know that there comes a range of emotions when you're going through with this. Did you get some type of professional help resolve just to help you get through it, maybe while you were going through it or either after?
I didn't. And honestly, I thought I was handling it very well. It took some time, but the key to it was I had to keep moving forward. I couldn't be stuck where I was, because no matter how much crying, praying, boo-hooing that I did, it's not going to change the situation. And then I come to the realization that this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be in the position that I am in right now. I'm supposed to be out there speaking and helping people and being an informative and speaking the gospel and all those different things. So it wasn't that my wife, you know, was dealing with cancer, which she was, but I always say she made me a better man and a better person through this experience. This progress it turned into something that I never thought I'd be. I never thought I'd be on this show right now talking to you about an experience that I had. I was still out there in the streets. So it humbled me.
Wow, that was powerful. From a caregiver's perspective, what would be your message for caregivers about what's important about moving forward when somebody, when you lose someone dealing with cancer?
I could tell them it's never easy. People always say, oh, time heals all wounds. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. Instead of thinking about it every day, I may think about it every other day. It's not a day go by since it happened that I haven't thought about it. It's been encrypted into my soul, into my brain. This is a person who was high school sweetheart. You just don't let go of those memories. So no matter how much you try to do when you're trying to move forward, it's going to be there. You just have to realize how you're going to cope with the situation. That's where it gets hard.
Do you ever feel guilty, resolve for just moving on with your life? Do you feel like, or do you feel sometimes you kind of stifle yourself because you feel like we should be doing this together?
Not at all. Me and my wife, we had a conversation, weeks and months beforehand, her time was to expire. And she actually told me, look, I don't want you dating this person. I want you doing this. I want you to continue living your life. I want you to do what you got to do. And that part made me like, wow, like you're telling me like to go out there and continue to live my life? Like, no, because I signed up to live my life with you. And now it's coming to an end. And it did feel like it wasn't right. But I had to realize it was a part of life. As my mother said, it's something that we all got to do one day. It's just that she did it before me.
So how long did it take you to get back out there and even think about dating?
I can't say that it wasn't long, but to be in the right state of mind to date, that was the problem. Because sure, I had dates, I had to reinvent myself. I reinvented myself. I thought I was ready, and I got out there, and then I realized I couldn't do it because I was still in love with my wife. And I had to come to the realization that I had to let her go. Still keeping her close and tight, but still trying to be able to move on. So there were some people, and I would listen to what they had to say, and it just didn't seem right. Because dealing with somebody who lost somebody, that's a big deal. It's not like they feel like they're in competition with the deceased person. And I ran into that a lot, and that bothered me a lot. So day after day, night after night, I was sitting like, am I really ready for this? Do I want to go through this? And I would ask myself every day, like, would I get married again? And even to this day, I still ask that question.
Did you talk to your girls about it? About how would they feel about you dating or getting married again after their mom?
We didn't talk about it. I think we all still need counseling. We need therapy. We need some type of sitting on the black couch and talk, all of us together, because they dealt with it the day that they dealt with it. And obviously, when you got kids in the picture and all they seen you with was their mother, it's hard for them to adjust to someone else or someone new, or get treated like how they were, or now you got this other lady here and they're feeling some type of So it was hard trying to date with them.
Did you feel like you were like when you did date that you had to get permission, or you didn't? You left the kids to the side and dated first to see if it was serious, and then brought the kids into the picture.
The second part, what you said. I didn't tell them because, again, everybody got their own opinions. Everybody like, oh, it would probably take you a couple years before you date, but have you gone through what I'm going through to even say what you had to say? How you know how long it's going to take? My cousin said, she said, I don't care if you meet somebody in 2 days, get married in 2 weeks, and be forever. But people were like, oh, it's going to take you some years. It's going to take this. No, it's when you're ready. If you feel that you're ready, then you're ready. It's not you. It's the position, because the right person at the right place at the right time can change everything. Don't lose opportunity because of what people say.
And everybody's different. Everybody grieves different. Everybody heals different. So, don't project, your timing on somebody else just because you're not ready or you need, a longer process. Like you said, if you see somebody and it clicks, go for it. It said, like I was telling my mom, I was like, Mom, it said until death do you part. So, you don't have to feel guilty if you, want to, have some type of companionship. It's like, I think sometimes, I don't know if you make yourself feel guilty or other people, because they're putting their time limit on you to say, no, you shouldn't be ready for somebody else right now. You should be waiting. You should still be in mourning. And it's like, okay, but this person is not here. This person is not coming back. How long do I have to sit here and be in mourning? And I can still mourn this person. I can still mourn this person and feel a certain way about this person and be able to still move on, because that person is going to always be a part of me.
Always. And I think it's people's opinions that cloud your judgment on what you should do, who you should be with, just all type of thing. Because even without being married, people always got their opinions like, oh, you shouldn't date her. She blah, 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 blah. The minute they find out that you're talking to this person, everybody got something to say.
It's like you almost have to date in secret, until, you're sure, so that nobody else can taint what's going on with you. If you are just tuning in, this is Warriors Talk Live on Intellectual Radio with co-host Rizal Gilmore, and he is sharing his story where his wife was diagnosed with cancer. She ended up passing away, and he is carrying on that legacy. And so he is sharing his wisdom and his experience with us on losing a spouse to cancer. And we was just talking about dating right now and how some people expect for you to be on their timeline, and like you almost have to have this secret relationship until you're serious and you want to go to the next step, and then you share with other people, because then you're locked in and you don't have to really worry about anybody rocking that boat. But you shouldn't have to get permission from other people to move on into another relationship.
Yeah, because in their eyes, it doesn't look right. They don't understand. Until you walk in my shoes, you're not going to understand how far I've actually gotten.
Did you feel like you were trying to be a people pleaser when it came to just your moves, because you probably felt like people were watching you after she passed away, so you kind of like just have to tiptoe around people just so you wouldn't hear their mouth?
Not too much, because I didn't care what people said. I did care about my daughter's stuff, and I tried to get them understanding, but we never really talked about the whole dating thing, because they had other people in their ear, talking bad about me, saying, oh, well, your father this, your father that, and he shouldn't be doing it. Like, don't brainwash the kids. It was just, it's been a horrible ordeal.
So now being a single dad and having to try to get back out here on the dating scene, like what is one of the things that, and I know we talked about this before with the red flags or the deal breakers, like knowing, what you had with your wife and moving forward to try to set, in place what you want with somebody else. Like what are some of the things that you like, I'm not going to put up with this and I'm not going to put up with that? What are some of those things that you thought about when you thought about dating?
Well, one thing I do, I give a person a fresh slate, because first, I can't compare them to whoever it is now, because nobody's not going to live up to who my wife was. Nobody's not going to fill those shoes. So I have to start fresh. I have to give that person a chance and see how they are, and see how, because I'm a delicate flower now. I'm damaged goods. I've been through a lot, so it's going to take a lot to, to bring me around and to get me to open this heart back up. Go ahead.
Do you feel like women may be maybe a little intimidated, like, oh, his wife passed away, so they may feel like, and I know you say you give women a clean slate, but then some women may feel like they may be competing with that memory?
Absolutely. Especially what I stand for when it comes to my foundation and still keeping her name alive. I did have problems with a couple women not acknowledging what I do. But then at the same time, I had some women that was like, I love what you're doing. So now it's like a 50-50 thing. So it's like, I'm not going to change what I'm doing, still living my wife's memory and still helping people. It is what it is. You got to love me or leave me alone.
Love them or leave them alone, ladies. So we're talking about losing a spouse to cancer. What are some of the things that has helped you cope with the loss of your spouse?
Time, praying to God, talking with Him, getting understanding, trying to stand when I didn't understand. Those were some key factors. And I had to think, like, everybody always think, well, why did it happen to me? How did it happen to me? Again, I accepted it because I wouldn't be on the type of mindset or the mind frame that I am if this didn't happen. I wouldn't have met the people that I met. I wouldn't be able to bring this platform to help other people. So it was meant to be. In the Bible stuff, I forgot what it's. If they was for us, they would continue with us. So if it was meant for her to continue with me, it would have been that way.
So you have turned your pain into purpose, and that purpose is helping other individuals, open their eyes to this cancer journey, not just awareness, because we don't focus just on awareness. You got to be able to move past just being aware and turn it into action. So, finding your purpose in all of this, that's a big thing, because a lot of people are still walking around trying to figure out what their purpose is. They're asking other people what their purpose is, and to be able to find your purpose through your pain and to know that the work that you're doing is going to be, it's going to help so many individuals and save so many lives. So that's a big deal.
Well, I found that I was very passionate about helping people. And I look back over my life. I took care of my father. I took care of my wife. I took care of the kids. And even now I'm taking care of my mother. So I'm very passionate about taking care of people. And that ultimately led me to my purpose. I think it was T.D. Jakes said it. If you don't know what your purpose is, find out what you're passionate about, because your passion will lead you to your purpose. And that's what happened to me.
Okay, so I was looking at some ways that would help people cope as it relates to a death of a spouse. And I think we talked about one of these was there's no right and wrong way to grieve after you lose a spouse. Don't allow someone to tell you how to grieve, how long to grieve, and when you should move on. That should be totally up to you. And individuals should not be insensitive to the fact that, you have your own timeline when it comes to moving on.
It's true. I would tell people don't rush, because what happens is being your spouse is gone and you're so used to somebody being there, you're trying to fill that void. And when you're trying to fill that void, you may make mistakes because you're willing to take any and everything that's starting to feel good to you. But everything that's good to you ain't good for you. So I can honestly say I made my mistakes along that. But again, that was part of the process. And I learned along the way, hoping to talk to God, praying. Was like, that's not the situation that I want you in. It's supposed to help accelerate you to where I need you to be. Because I still need you out there doing what you need to do. And we need you headstrong. We got to keep your mind in the game. Most battles are won before they even played.
So the next coping tip would be, if it's right in, is to go easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't, allow other individuals to dictate what you should be doing, basically. So, I know I read earlier, like some people would feel like, why am I still here? Why did God leave me here? Why didn't God take me? And like you said, her purpose, she finished, she completed her purpose. She completed the race that God wanted her to do. And now it's like, okay, now she's cheering you on from where she is so that you can, complete your race. And we all have a race that we need to complete. It's just that most of us are not even on the field to be in the race. We're on the sidelines looking in because we don't even know what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So to know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, it's an awesome feeling to be able to, to walk in your purpose. And even if you're just planting the seeds and you don't get to see them blossom, that if you planted that seed and you watered it, that it's going to blossom and somebody's going to benefit.
That's right. Because she was the blessing to me. She was the one who had me unlock what was in me so I can share it with everybody else. She unlocked my purpose. So every day I thank her for that.
I can remember, like when my sister passed away, I didn't, cancer wasn't on my brain. It wasn't like, oh, I need to be this advocate to, make sure that everybody's aware and take action. Like that was not even on my mind. Like for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I would probably wear pink and maybe get like a pink ribbon or something, but that would be it. I may have shared something on Facebook, but to going hard like I am right now, that was not something that I was doing. It wasn't until it actually happened to me, until I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is serious. And, I need to let everybody know just how serious it is. So it took for me to be affected with it, for, me to really see and to share with other people, just how important it is.
God just punched you the first time, but the second time, he had to move you. He pushed you.
I always say, God he's so strategic in what he does. And, sometimes you don't see it right away when you write up on it. But when you take a step back, then you say, wow, that's what God did. I talk about when I went to my sister's chemo appointment. She had one chemo appointment, and God allowed me to sit in that chemo appointment 3 years before I was diagnosed. So I got to see what it looked like and everything, and it was like, wow. So when I got ready to do chemo, that flashed back in my mind, like, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do. He had already prepared me for it, not knowing that, I was going to be going through the same thing.
Isn't this something? You could be in a place, but it's just not your time yet.
Yeah.
And I think about that often. I've been surrounded by cancer. And I even think about myself like, could this happen? I mean, sure, it can happen to me, but is it going to happen to me? I've been surrounded with so many people, so many things. And then I would question, because God, why would you do? Because I helped so many. You know, I'm still helping so many. No questions asked. Shirt off my back, bread off my table. You need it, you got it.
Yeah, yesterday I was running around yesterday dropping off my the battle buddy sacks that I give to people who are in the battle for cancer right now. And it's like, you know, you want to do any and everything you can to make someone's journey and their fight just a little bit lighter, because, you know, somebody did it for you, somebody did it for me. And so I just try to make sure that, you know, people going through it, you know, I try to tell them, you know, and like I say, everybody's journey is different, but you just try to tell them, oh yeah, okay, I did this, I did that. And you try to, you know, just to give them some hope going through. And like sometimes you talk to people and they say, you know, I mentioned this before, like they try not to accept the diagnosis, and they're like, girl, I'm not going to accept that diagnosis. You know, I'm just going to wait for God to heal me. I'm not going to do anything. And, you know, I try to tell people, you know, if the doctor told you that, if you don't believe it, then go get a second opinion. But you have to accept the diagnosis. And accepting the diagnosis doesn't mean that you're accepting defeat, but it means that you have identified your enemy. So now you know what weapons you need to put together to defeat that enemy. But if you don't accept that diagnosis, then how are you going to identify what you need to do?
That's right.
So, you know,
we start to lose the battle because we don't want to confront what is tearing us apart. And we need to fix that.
And then you allow time to slip away, like time just slipping away.
And before you know it, it's too late.
So it's important to, when you're taking action, you know, you're doing it so that, you know, you can prevent things from happening, or you can catch things early. So that's the purpose of taking action.
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. So another tip for grieving after you lose a spouse is seek support. And you talked about the support that you were, and even her having to, you know, just doing everything herself, and then having to have that support later on, you know, when she needed it. Because I don't know if that's just a woman thing, that, you know, we try to do everything ourselves, and then, you know.
I noticed that even with my mother. See, the problem with you women, y'all still think that y'all can do the things that y'all used to do. And y'all put up a fight about it when we say, no, let me do this, let me help. And then become an argument. No, I can do it. I've been doing it. So y'all need to stop.
We try, you know, we have that superwoman complex, and we, you know, we would try until we just can't. And then we, you know, we'll be humble and we accept the help. So make sure that you are accepting help, you know, just so you can rest your body, rest your mind. You don't have to do it all yourself, especially when you have some loving people around you that's willing to jump in there.
Even Superman was hurt at one point.
Yeah, he was.
He actually died.
Really resolve. Another tip is adjust your social life. And I think that's important. I think you said something about that earlier, about, you know, just, you know, certain people you want around you at the time that, you know, you're grieving, so that, you know, they will allow you to grieve the way that you should. So if you have to navigate your social life differently, then do that. Another tip would be to get help, to get professional help, so that, you know, you can grieve properly. Everybody grieve different, but some people need help, you know, to get them through it. They may want to commit suicide, you know, they may turn to some type of addiction. So, you know, if you need to get help, if you see somebody that's grieving and, you know, they really not their normal self, then you may, you know, see if they want to go and seek some help.
I think one of my coping mechanisms was keeping myself busy. I stayed doing a lot of different things to keep my mind off it. But it was like, if I hear a song or have a drink or something triggered those tears because I would remember back. Oh, my wife loved this, or we did this, or we did that. So it was always something. But I stayed busy. I didn't think about staying stagnant because I knew there was other people I had to get out there and help. So I think that's what got me through.
I think especially when you have kids, you know, it's like, okay, I got to be able to function for these kids, so I got to get up and get going. So, Rizal, what are some words of wisdom that you would give somebody who are getting ready to lose their spouse or who have already lost their spouse?
Ooh. What would I tell somebody? I would probably tell them, as long as you fight, I'm going to fight, and we're going to fight together. One of my biggest things was, I don't do this for me, I don't do it for you, I do it for us. And that's a big thing that people miss. It's for us, it's for all of us. Like, we need each other. Just as much as I need my girls, they need me.
That's some awesome words of wisdom. How many years has it been since your wife passed?
7 years now. 7 years now, and it's still the day, especially this month because this is her birthday month, and it just happened to also be breast cancer month. And I know you've been following along. I try to honor every single person, every single day during the month of October, and I'm proud of the work that you're doing as well, giving tips at 8 o'clock, letting people know what they need to do for breast cancer, and that's part of the taking action that we do here on Warriors Talk. So,
yeah, I saw today because he's recognizing survivors all week, all month actually, and today is it the Bold and Breastless?
Yeah, Shonda Hernandez.
Yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get some tips really quick. Rizal, I appreciate you being vulnerable to share your story, to share your wisdom, and I know that they are blessed by your story, knowing that if they have someone in their life that are going through cancer that's terminally ill, that you can help them, live a great life and a comfortable quality of life just by loving on them and being there for them.
Exactly. That's what it's about. Doctor said 2 years. She made it through 6. She tripled that.
Wow. So I'm gonna give you some quick tips of dealing with losing a spouse. And the first one is try not to be a people pleaser. Don't speak negative about yourself. Trust your gut after the loss. Breathe. Get a notebook and write down how you're feeling every day. Accept help. Give yourself some grace. Stop the inner critic. Breathe. Okay. Give yourself some grace. I think that's the most important thing, is giving yourself some grace to allow yourself to get through it. So the only people who think that there's a time limit on grief is a person who has never lost a piece of their heart. So take all the time that you need. So join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell and the biz, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.